magical effects. Hello everybody, welcome back to the final hour of this session. So, or less than an hour at this point. So you're feeling around up there, you're pretty sure you know where it is. You're pretty sure you know exactly where it is. And you want to take a swing at it. First thing I have to say is there's a 50% chance as to whether or not you're going to hit it. Because you can't see it, you're attacking it blind. So you must tell me, sir. Sir, you must make your attack, but before you even roll your attack roll me any die of your choice, and it is odd to hit.
Okay.
1d2, ink.
I say odd to hit even when you're missing.
I'll roll d20.
Because then I can technically modify it with a luck die, right? Huh? So you swing at the thing, but you make connection with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Does your character try to swing again?
Yeah, one's crazy, so he would just swing at it a few times because he thinks something's there, but he's passing his hand through it, so he's going to take it, a couple of swings, and that'd be, if he swings a few times and nothing's happening, he'll just note it in his head.
Go ahead.
Alright, so we'll do two more.
Norway, a real die, not a fake die. Okay. Swings again. Swing, bada, swing.
And again.
Now you have to actually physically roll me an attack roll. Well, virtually.
An attack roll.
Si, senor.
Okay.
Would you like to modify that in any way?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll just double check one more thing before I give you an answer to your question. So this is... Oh, that's not the one I was looking for, is it? Not that one, sorry. It's, there you go. This is, what's the... There we go, okay. AC of 16, that's your total result, correct?
Yep.
You swing a third time and you hit nothing. And finally, Kithel will step forward and say, Chosen of the Blade, I do not think anything is there. Or perhaps if there is something there, it is beyond our understanding.
There is something there, Cthulhu. I can feel it. Although nothing, I know nothing of this, and cannot seem to make contact with it.
Then perhaps we should await the rearrival of one of the other chosen. As you said during the meeting, perhaps these are matters that they understand better.
I think you're right, Cthulhu. Can you send word? He just stops himself and looks at Cthulhu and just kind of motions at the door to go outside.
He goes and opens the door for you. You step through. He steps through and shuts the door behind the both of you.
He's so polite, Kithel.
As we walk out into the open and into, the sounds of whatever's going on, he just says, "Can you please inform me when Valrin or Rayron enter our borders?"
I will send word to the guards that the Chosen of the Blade suggests they should wear the dirt of the travel off of the road and into the temple, that they may find blessings of their appropriate god or goddess.
Thank you, Cthulhu.
He nods and says, he nods, turns and leaves.
Just before he leaves, one would say, Cthulhu, our guests never found their way to any of the temples, did they? Shrines.
They came directly to the throne room. At the
Were
end
they?
at the end of the day, they left the throne room, did not find a tavern or an inn, and so they wandered about the streets for a little while, checked into a few of the minor shops and whatnot that we have here, and eventually spent the night I do not know where. I'm embarrassed to inform you of that. The same thing happened the second night. This is their third day that they've been here.
Okay. I would then say thank you, Cthulhu, and then I would make my way to Vrogar's shrine and actually see if Nelly or somebody else has been there or is there.
Yeah. So she is, she'll be there, yeah, that's fine.
So I approach her and I say, "Hello, Nelly. How have you been?"
Absolutely wonderful. You have to understand that things have been going very well. With the harsh winters comes an opportunity for one to prove their strength.
Indeed. I'm glad you've taken so well to the teachings of Vrogar. It pleases me greatly.
Unfortunately, being raised on one side of a story tends to ignorance. I should have known better. Same is true when my wife and her husband split ways. I only heard her side, then I found out how much of a... Well, anyways.
One laughs a little and he says, "Nelly, have you been here much over the past two nights at all?"
I spend almost nearly every day I spend some amount of time in the temple. Not always, though.
Of course. Whilst you were here, did you happen to see any gnomes make their way into the temple?
No gnomes, no.
Thank you, Nelly.
Of course.
And one would then start checking out the shrine. But I mean, yeah, he just spent some time doing that and
When you ask
trying to listen for that noise.
When you ask other practitioners of the shrine, you don't find... nobody said they've seen any gnomes in this, over here and like that. So it seems like this place is probably safe and whatnot. So anyways, unless there's anything else you want to do, we can flash forward a couple of days with Neil. So Neil, back to the future with your character. You do meet for dinner at Fox's home, as he had suggested. And so with Fox, he does invite you to dinner, so on and so forth. You spend time with his wife. You absolutely love his wife. She's a darling. But most importantly, you end up meeting his friend comes in. He introduces you. He's like, he goes to the door when there's a knock on the door or whatever, and he comes walking in. And he leads a gentleman in. The gentleman that he leads in is somebody that wears, kind of like... a bit of like a heavier leather jacket. You almost imagine it's like a riding coat because it falls down past his knees. The leather, almost like trench coat style jacket that he wears. He wears a very bright colored tunic underneath. Very much has boots of somebody who is both quality but not afraid to walk the road. So clearly somebody that has money. His hair is a bit longer, brown. Pulled back in a comfortable way. Has a little bit of like a small amount of graying, ever so slight graying happening to it. But you imagine the graying that's happening is coming in its youth, not due to necessarily being an older person. Clearly they are human. And they come in and they have a smile on their face. Clearly a practiced smile of somebody who might be a politician or a noble or something along those lines. And when the person comes into the room with Fox, Fox says, it's a pleasure of mine to introduce the two of you together. Lord Rayrin, this is Arthur Frame. Arthur, this is Lord Rayrin. And he walks up to you and extends a hand to shake yours.
Grim would shake his hand.
As he shakes your hand, he does a slight head nod to respect your position as being a lord, right? And so he does like a slight head nod and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, your lordship. I hear that you travel from the east."
And you, Arthur. I understand that you are a friend of Fox. I should imagine I will be in good company for the travel east.
I certainly hope so. I will offer my services to the greatest of their ability and to see to what end we can bring a union between Leshev and Kurzfall. I understand that there's certain details that are being looked after. He says, looking over at what's his name, Fox. Now, as far as you understand, maybe Fox shouldn't have told him all of this information so quickly, so early on. But who knows? He is sent as a representative of his. Maybe it's okay. Either way. So you would tell Elliot or something, right? So he says, but let's put that aside us for now. I understand that there's going to be a delicious feast in your honor. Please, I would love to eat what is put on these tables. And kind of like walks in. You quickly learn about Arthur and the conversations that you have with him. Roll me a sense motive check, by the way, because obviously you get to know him. Okay. I assume you're happy with your result.
Yep.
Just because I never get to roll them. Ha! So you only got a 14 result. I never get to roll them, so I was like, I'm going to use an opportunity to actually roll one because I got a bunch gifted to me. Love goes both ways, guys. So,
Cruel man.
huh?
Cruel man.
I'm a cruel man. So one of the things that you learn from him is that he is a keen person. Though few people you'll ever encounter as intelligent as Rayron is, he is not a dull man by any stretch of the imagination. You can also tell he's also rather charismatic. But most importantly, as you're getting to know each other a bit more, you can tell you're trading stories and stuff like that, and where you've been. You can tell that he is not exactly of noble birth, not exactly of noble birth, but kind of like was married into a noble family, had a bit of that upbringing, but then certainly has put a strong foot forward into that field. You know what I mean? Where he's put himself out as somebody that can be respected as such. Certainly doesn't carry any title of lord or the like, but definitely somebody who has the presentation of somebody who would have that title. And maybe one day will carry that kind of a title in the future. But another thing that you learn of the stories about him is that they are not, as I said beforehand, afraid of the road. When there was a story being told of a situation of bandits attacking the nearby area, attacking Leshev, and he was the other persons with wealth were putting forward money to hire others to go out and resolve the situation, to pay for guards to go and resolve the situation before it comes forward. He did not only put money forward, but also himself, and went on the adventure and tells, you imagine there's a bit of exaggeration that goes on in the tale. But certainly, from what you can tell, at least witness the fights that took place, if not partaking in the fight himself. Though he does fancy himself as being one of the more crucial members of the combat, of course. Either way, there's a certain respect to the way, and you can tell even just by the way that his arms are corded and the way that he carries himself, the ease of it. Either he's a particularly good liar, or he actually knows his way around the blade. Overall, though, he kind of, he doesn't rub you particularly wrong. After that, the two of you will set out the next day with the three counselors and all of your guard, and you will head over towards Kurzfall. Your travel is met with no problems along the road. At least no problems that aren't handled immediately. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's that. I know you're not. That aren't handled immediately. When you get to Kurzfall, one of the things that you notice as you approach into your city, as you come into it, is that one of the guards hails you as you come walking by. Not the typical, chosen of the quill as you come walking in. It's also one of those as you pass by. It's my lord, chosen. May I have a word with you in private?
Yes, what is it?
you say, standing there in front of 10 other people?
No. He says yes. What is it? As he dismounts.
Yep. He just leans into you and he's being like overly conspicuous and says, Chosen of the Blade suggests that immediately on your arrival from the road, you take a moment to have your safe return home blessed by Lady Arenda.
Well, I suppose if the Chosen of the Blade is suggesting I pray to someone other than Vroga, then we must.
No,
Thank you. He'd remount and say, now, first on the agenda, we must visit the shrine to Lady Arenda. I believe it's only proper as we thank her and ask for her wisdom in the coming negotiations.
And so they all kind of can agree to that. They understand that you were the chosen of this goddess. It's actually a very appropriate first trek. Though they're weary. It is what again? They're old. Not Arthur though. He was younger, as I had said beforehand. They're all old. So they're like, okay, let's go there. I was kind of hoping for a wine and a nap. And so they travel with you now off of their horses. Actually, they can stay on their horses because your town's not exactly full. So they can travel on their horses over towards there, and they can dismount, and the guards or whomever can take away the steeds, and I imagine return them to their rightful owners.
Yes.
Return them to the rightful owners, and you go into the temple. When you go into the temple, you're giving a bit of a tour, so on and so forth. But most importantly, word comes to you through a guard saying, Chosen of the Blade. I was told to inform, or Kithel told me to inform you as soon as Chosen of the Quill had returned, or Chosen of the Hearth had returned, that they had gone to their appropriate temple. The Chosen of the Quill has returned, and he is at the temple of Lady Arenda.
Thank you. I will seek him out. And he just stands up and leaves.
Okay.
And heads there.
So you immediately head back over to his temple. You're giving your bit of a tour to the temple and maybe even a bit of a prayer, leading a prayer to your goddess. While you're giving a tour to the temple, just because I like to make you roll dice, Neil, roll me a knowledge religion check.
Sure. Should definitely have some bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
I've read about Lady Arenda.
The fact that you have 0 ranks in knowledge religion just tickles my fanny.
Because she doesn't want you to have knowledge in religion explicitly. Knowledge is her domain, not religion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and she loves it when her chosen know nothing about her. So
actually, she does. Historically, she employs one person who advocates change so that her people don't simply stagnate.
So the people that you're giving the tour to, maybe it's because you're tired, maybe it's just because you can't maintain their interest, but you don't give the most amazing of tours of the temple or explanation of the temple. Maybe you're just distracted because it was a strange request by one. You can kind of, as you're starting to tell, oh, this is not really going over as well as I had hoped, you're almost saved by the one as he comes walking in through the temple to clearly catch your eye, and the two of you unite.
He'd step away. If you'll excuse me for a few moments, councillors. He'd step away towards one, shake his hand. One, how did it go?
Yeah, I believe my trip to Reed was a success. However, this is not why I need to speak with you. Who have you got with you?
These are some of the councillors and representatives of councillors from Le Chèvre. They've agreed, pending the outcome of these fellows' stays, that they will build a bridge and road to our city and enter in a defensive pact against Haldgwen. I did also mention some further information about our plans to unite Idir.
He puts his hand up and just says, "Sorry, Raren. can you send them ahead and have them settled into the castle with some of the guards there? It's something I must speak to you about before we say any more. And I need to speak with you alone.
Very well. Give me a few minutes. I need to treat these people with respect. Wait there.
Thank you.
You walk over to the others and say, "Gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed a short time together in the temple. However, I believe you are weary from our long ride and would do well with rest, some fine wine, and a warm meal." He would summon an individual, a guard, an attendant.
A ghost.
If you take these fellows up to the castle, have them seated in our finest rooms and treated to an excellent meal, and crack open something nice from the cellars. I will allow you to rest for the night and for the morning, and I will meet you at noon tomorrow. At which point I will lead you around the rest of the city and perhaps discuss some more fine, lighter pleasantries with you. I hope that will be to your liking, gentlemen.
They all seem relieved for the opportunity to actually be able to relax for a bit. Like I said, they're old and coming off the road. The idea of having a drink, a bath, and a bed sounds quite pleasant to them. One of them does speak up. This is specifically Arthur, and says, "It's still rather early in the day, and I'm still feeling a bit invigorated. Would it be permitted for me to make my way about the town to get familiar with the people here and the locations of your various shops and the like? Or would you rather to handle that together tomorrow?"
You are no prisoner, Arthur. You're welcome to travel the city as you wish. However, I would be keen to assign to you a guard or two. As safe as the city is, it would not do well for my negotiations if you were to end up drunk and in a bar fight.
He chuckles at that and kind of like gives you like a look like, oh, maybe he knows me a little too well, kind of like almost like a friendly look, and says, "Well, if it's my safety that you're concerned about, then I genuinely appreciate it. I'll gladly accept your guard. Just make sure that they're guard that are fun. I don't want to be bored."
Perhaps some of the guards you've traveled with already. I think they would be welcome to spend some time with you and accept one drink. He clearly says to them.
He says, completely understands. There are 2 guards. That would be 2 drinks, correct?
1 per guard.
And he, noticing you did not let that slip, he laughs and says, "Very well, 1 per guard."
Enjoy yourself, but do be careful.
As he walks by, he says to the 2 guards, audible enough intentionally for you to hear it, he says, "I tried, boys." And then walks out with the 2 of them. The other guards, of course, leading the counselors out of the place, and them kind of going their own direction, leaving the 2 of you behind with just typical attendees of the temple, who, if you asked for them to leave, or if you wanted to go into the back room, of course, would easily happen.
Just quickly, one being kind of paranoid, he would have been listening.
He stares them out as they go by.
He would have been listening into what Raymond was saying and stuff. And when that one guy was kind of like, "Oh, can I go do some stuff? Can I roll a sense motive?"
Sure.
Just to see.
It's very in character, but I love the idea of like Raymond having this relatively amiable banter and one just behind him just fucking staring. It's like, you are.
Oh, you see it? 2.
It's close.
It's funny. You got too many 20s, okay, Jake? No more for 3 games. All right. So, anyways, you said so you're staring after him. You think that he is young, has a bit of vitality to him, and is done hanging out with the Crypt Keepers.
Yeah. So thinking that one, as he kind of walks past, would probably give him a little smile, coming to that conclusion, and then almost snapping back into his thought process, walk towards Raven. And he would say, Rayron, would you follow me, please?
Yes, what's this about? Something bad didn't happen in Reed, I hope. You know, I had a lovely time in Lochev. It's quite a pleasant...
Rayron, please, just trust me and follow me. I must pay Vrogar respect as you have paid Winifred. Please,
Very well.
come with me. So as they walk over, one would kind of be silent the whole time until getting into the shrine to Vrogar.
Mm-hmm.
And he would look around. Is anyone there?
There are practitioners there.
One looks at them and says, "Please leave us."
They immediately do so. Don't question it.
Yeah. So Raymond would see one kind of walking around the shrine, just like looking around, and he seems a bit erratic almost. And he turns to Raymond and says, "Reed was fine, but when I got back, there was some strange and uninvited guests. 2 gnomes from the Arcane Congress were here."
Yes, figures they'd show up sooner or later.
As a reminder, before you guys continue this RP, because it's been a while since Neil and I have discussed this, Malta is the only known nation that 100% ignores the laws of the Arcane Congress. They have their own laws, they are their own magical nation, and they do not have any Arcane Congress influenced schools. They have no Arcane Congress laws in their nation whatsoever, and they have no positive dealings whatsoever with the Arcane Congress. And as far as any of the commoners know, no negative dealings with the gnomes of Eustace or the Arcane Congress in general. However, things have been going poorly for them for the past 50 years. Very poorly. So, who knows?
So when I arrived, Kithil had informed me that they kind of just barged in and had their way of the castle. I don't know if the whole castle, but at least the throne room. They also have gone out unexpectedly, and nobody knows where they went in the city. He gestures around and he says loudly just says a prayer to Vrogar, and then his attention snaps back to you and he says, I don't know that they haven't been here, but they seem to have left something in the throne room.
No, one of them didn't shit on... No, I can't.
One disregards what you said, and then he's just like, I can hear it. I can't see it or touch it, though I can hear it. It's like a buzzing. He says, also, they seemed to, and they got the better of me, fished for some information just about us in general. They started saying something about some laws or something, and then they asked where we were from. And I told them where we were from. And then they seemed to be seemed to be displeased with the fact that you're a Maltese.
Yes. Little bastards. Where... are they still here?
No, they refused to wait for you or Valorant. Valorant is also gone. I wish we would have known beforehand, but yeah, when I got back it was just... yeah, so none of us were here. But yeah, they have left something in our throne room, and I don't know what it is. I was wondering if you could shed any light on that matter.
Yes, I probably could. It sounds like you've handled the situation relatively well. Well done. Yes, let's head to the throne room then and have a look.
Yeah, let's.
I'm
very...
While we're exchanging information, if you could be as courteous as possible when dealing with these councillors from Lochev, I fear our alliance rather hinges on their reaction to our city.
He looks at you and he just says, I don't believe I will spend that much time around the nobles.
No, however, it would do them good to meet with another leader and see that he is level-headed, strong, and reasonable.
Of course I will meet with them, though I will leave you to your
Yes.
handling of them.
Yes, they have already become acquainted with my silver tongue. I believe that's why they're here, actually. It was quite the speech. The first one, not the second one. That was a bit chilly. But that's fine. Right, we should see the throne room. And we should speak to Kithel about letting in random gnomes off the street.
Yeah,
I
he seemed
understand.
to.
I understand that these people are magic users, and therefore it may be difficult to remove, but there's something to be said about leaving the gates open and allowing them entry.
Yes, I agree. We should definitely avoid much conversation in the throne room that we wouldn't want anyone to know.
Just to be clear, Scott, the rules, the laws of the Arcane Congress give them the rights to monitor countries to ensure that they're adhering to below 6th level magic.
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but yes, it's also a matter of magic item production. It has to do with any magical institutes. They have to have at least 2 representatives within the institutes to ensure that the proper teachings are made. Lest, of course, you do the wrong teachings and something disastrous happens. You learn magic the wrong way, and innocents die because of your mishandling of such powerful arts and things like that.
Yeah.
But also when it comes to the trading of reagents, they have their hands in, of course, pretty much every trade between nations and merchants within a country that have control of the various reagents. Because, of course, it's important to note that somebody isn't mixing reagents wrong. Because, once again, you could be a wonderful master at casting this kind of spell, but then you use too many substitutional reagents and a spell as opposed to all the core ones. Then the wrong substitutes can have a bad reaction, and all of a sudden a bunch of innocent people die, and it's for the safety of the general populace.
Yeah.
And the practitioner.
One, can I give you homework to give me a list of all of their laws? The important ones that will matter at some point.
Well,
2.
They left you up, but yeah.
Yeah, but I need to read them. Sorry. 2. Is there anything that explicitly says they should have any ability to observe the ruling operations of a nation? For example, this scrying orb.
Okay. So you're tossing that to 1, you had said?
No, to you.
Okay, my apologies. You'd have to thumb through it to see if that's a thing. You're actually not super familiar with their laws because they don't exist in your country.
Yeah. Okay. I'll research that shortly then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the throne room.
So you go to the third room.
On the way there too, sorry, one would bring up to Rayren, maybe we can speak also with the old man. He did say he would protect us for a year. Maybe he could offer some insight on why if he could stop whatever's going on. I do not like the feeling of being watched.
No, I rather like the idea of him fiddling with it. Perhaps change it so all they can see is his bottom.
One laughs. And then they head to the throne room.
So you go into the throne room. You go in there, and immediately you're going to have to... you cast Detect Magic. So as soon as you go in there and you cast Detect Magic, but maybe even casting it before you walk in. That way it's not like watch that you're casting it. You walk in, and you've got the sensor going in your mind. And immediately you detect the presence of magic. A couple moments later, you detect a number of auras. And then the third round, so after you've been in there for nearly 20 seconds... you can roll me a spellcraft check to discern the school. Sorry, a knowledge arcana check to discern the school.
Knowledge arcana.
And you're very quickly able to discern that it is divination magics that you are looking at, and certainly not weak ones. These aren't faint traces of divination here. It is definitely has a decent strength to it. What degree, you do not know. Now, as for where it's emanating from, because you have an aura permeating the area that covers pretty much the entire throne room, it's hard to tell where the epicenter is or exactly where this thing is. You're going to roll me an intelligence check, but before you do so, Jake was already going to give you a +2 because he was giving you a heads up, kind of like gesturing in the area. You're going to get an additional +2 because you know exactly what kind of area to look in and near the center of it. So you're going to get a +4 in this intelligence check.
Okay.
After he makes that check, one would go to where he thought it was and
+4.
do something he forgot to do, and he would cast Sift and look at that spot.
Okay. Sift does not give you anything further.
Okay.
So when you go in there, you walk looking at the spell, whereas it took 1 hours to find, like 5 hours of searching, 6 hours to find it. You walk in there, and in less than 45 seconds, you've pinpointed the location. And you hear the...
Well, that's rather annoying.
Only because you were made aware of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you hear the slight noise. Now, because you're experiencing it, you did your da-da-da-da. I need you to roll me a spellcraft check, sir.
Oh boy.
Okay, I was like, did he freeze? Are you happy with that result?
Not really.
Then add a luck roll to it. You know he's just going to give you the thumbs up. He always does. Excuse me. So, with your luck roll result, give me 2 seconds. It is... Okay. So, with your luck roll result, you're able to discern that this is a scrying spell, specifically the spell scrying, with one exception. As far as you understand with the spell scrying, the way that it functions is usually it functions on a person, and usually usually functions on a person as opposed to a location, right? And usually is a very short-lived spell, but can be done over and over and over again. From what you understand from what one has described to you,
They've added a permanency.
Exactly, fixated on a location, and it's what's the other thing I just said? The duration. Yep.
Okay. I see. Scrying allows hearing and seeing.
Correct. And if it is a higher tier of scrying, actually I can't say anything else. I'll just say scrying.
Allows sniffing too.
Hearing and seeing. It's like clairaudience, clairvoyance at the same time.
Yeah. Lovely. Okay.
It's mirror, mirror on the wall.
How high up is it?
Only just shy of 2 meters off the ground.
And whereabouts?
About 3 paces from the actual thrones.
Behind them.
In front.
In front.
Mm-hmm. You know that a scry more or less allows you to see and hear things as though you were in the location of the scry.
Yeah.
To the perceptive abilities of the person that is utilizing the spell. So if like one was scrying, it'd be way more effective than if Valorant was scrying.
It's rather annoying. It's a simple scrying spell, as it were. However, it's been adjusted. It's here to stay permanently. So not so simple after all. They definitely were from Arcane Congress.
Can I hit this thing?
No.
I tried before, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's because it's not their one.
What's this buzzing I can hear?
Well, it is there, but it's not there. How do I put this? It's like the blessing of Vroga. It's there, and it can be interacted with in a manner. However, it's not something you could touch.
He thinks And he just nods. He kind of looks a bit dejected, but he's like, well, they'll be back by the end of the month, so it'll be an interesting conversation to have.
Yes, well, if it
Though
lasts
I
long-
dare say they know now.
Well, yes, if they're paying attention, which we should move next door. Once they've moved next door, he's like, it doesn't record what's said. It simply lets them look whenever they look, as it were, peeping through a window. If they're not peeping through the window at the right time, they'll miss it. That said,
Okay.
it would be best to avoid conducting important business in there for the coming month until they return, at which point we will ask them kindly to remove it. And if they don't, well, you know, I'm sure we can charge them with something. On the other hand, they refuse. I have always fancied a statue of sorts there, perhaps something with lead in it, which would solve the issue very nicely.
A statue directly in the
Not
front of the throne, obscuring.
Only Baron's throne. Only Baron's
Oh,
throne.
yeah, that's right. That's right. It's better to have something hanging from a chain in the ceiling, just like 6 feet off the ground, like right in the obstruction of everybody's sight. Listen, this doesn't need to be here. Trust me. Yes.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Can we move around? How dare you insinuate?
Listen, Val, we just didn't want anybody to see that wart. You know, we didn't want to say anything. We were trying to be subtle about it.
It adds to the mysterious nature of your character.
Anyways, to answer a question in chat, permanency can something that's permanency be dispelled. The spelled permanency takes a duration, whatever that duration was, a round per level, minute per level, hour per level, whatever, and changes that duration to permanent. So the new duration is now permanent. Permanent is a duration. Something that has a duration generally can be dispelled. You dispel the permanent duration, triggering it back to its original duration, which, let's say the original duration is a day per level and it's 6 months later that you get rid of the permanency. That time has already expired. It immediately ends.
If permanency is a different spell, could you not dispel one component of the magic?
You would dispel the permanency and it would go away.
But could you not dispel this? Like, say the scry is lower level, could you not dispel the scry and then the permanency's there, but it's gone?
Sure, you can do that too, yep.
Cool.
Both of those are options, absolutely. Yours is probably a better option for dealing with, say, permanencying the spell shield. But if somebody's permanencying, say, something like, I don't know, Wail of the Banshee, or some shit like that, which is instantaneous, that doesn't work, but you know what I'm saying. 7th level spell, then you would go with the permanency option, which I think is a 5th level spell.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
So anyways, so to answer your question, Card. But back to the session. So fortunately, Rid went over swimmingly. They're going to do what they can to increase trade your way and even send traders your way. Loshev went over pretty well considering. They sent some of the counselors and another person, like a friend of yours, to come and check out your peoples, your culture, to let them kind of like check the area out. We'll get to that in one moment. Elliot is going to be coming back from Forvin because of how late it is. We'll have to handle that next session. I don't want to get into a big RP about that now. So
Did it go well, though? I need to know.
We'll get to that next session. And the Arcane Congress, which was your July event roll, came in and stopped for a visit. So that was exciting.
They were very rude. Very rude.
No, they weren't. They were cordial.
Very rude.
So anyways...
There's a difference between cordial and respectful. They were not respectful.
So as for the Leshev peoples, I would like you all to choose. For you, Val, because you're the point of contact, for you it's probably diplomacy.
Val.
I meant Ray.
That's my name.
Everybody roll for me a skill check of how it is you wish to interact with the party and sending them happy, love, good feeling things while they're here. And we're going to have to kind of choose. You guys can look at Val's character sheet. What it is that Val's going to roll for.
Okay, let's have a look. Val, 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 Val. Full bow. Slim pickings to be had here. I'd like to go with knowledge history. He's going to wow them with the knowledge of the ruins and the mole, and how this is a culture based on how we're aware and respectful of the previous cultures of Idir.
So you want Val to go first?
Yeah, sure. Let's bin Val's roll.
I'll roll it for you.
Okay, cool.
As Valorant. And knowledge history. Here we go. Not bad.
Not bad.
Would you like me to multiply that?
We have two dice. I say we use them on the 2 good rolls. That being one of the good rolls. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
So you want to modify that in a positive way?
Yes.
Go right ahead. You hit your luck die.
You actually have to roll this one.
Oh, okay, fine. Then I'll do it. Manually display. Nope. Oh yeah. I think I have that over here. Yeah. So that's just a different area for me. Luck roll. Oh yeah, no. Actually, literally roll luck. There we go.
There we go.
Hey! Must be the money. If you want to come take a ride with me. So with a 21 history check, he actually does an incredible job of showing them the richness of the mole culture. As you had said, the ancientness of the wood and the blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Okay, who's next and what are you doing? You can always sub yourself out for a advisor if you would wish to do so.
He's considering it. He's like,
well, like I have an 8 to diplomacy, but I kind of want to go with religion, which is a 7.
I've
got to.
Well, if he's going to do diplomacy, you can leave that one to him and do your religion.
Yeah, I'm going to do diplomacy. Let's do my diplomacy. See how it goes.
The depth of the culture, the history here, the wealth of the religion.
On my roll.
Oh, you're letting him roll first? Oh, shit! Oh! You know what's funny? His card literally gave you guys a Twitch chat pool of rock and says, try not to roll a 1 with a tongue sticking out face. I blame Card for this one. Card Shock Master did this to you.
D20s, roll 20s. D&D just doesn't work with amalgamated rolls.
No, this is
you need to roll like 20 D20 and take the average.
Nope.
So is that still like a crit fail? Is skill checks not affected that way?
Skill checks are not affected. They're not crit fails.
I feel like you should just modify that anyway, just in case you get a 4.
Yeah, watch me roll another.
Well,
one.
you only have the one left. You sure you don't want to save it for Jake in case he needs to come in for the save?
What do you want to do?
Didn't we just get one? He's lying. Look at this kid.
Oh, I wanted to affect your roll so bad.
Yeah, 12.
I could have brought you to an 8. It would have been so much better. Okay.
Alright, well this is going to be interesting. Let's see how we go.
You know what? Can I add a plus on that? Can I spend some gold and get more drunk?
I went 11, 9, 6. Oof. Okay, so this is how.
Anyway, what they wanted to ascertain was that we had good culture, and Valron's done that.
Valorant, deep, rich history culture. He wowed the panties off them with that one, and then Jake put them back on with his 14 religion check. It was actually a really good job of explaining the depth of the problem is it comes off as a little bit foreign to them. The idea of this the idea of this like 3 religion mandate thingy going on, whatever that you guys have, seems a bit foreign to them, but it's not bad. It actually says, okay, so you guys have generally a very lawful and goodly society, you know what I mean? A bit of Rogar thrown in there too for the warriors to keep the place strong. So the idea of fighting back Hodgwen is kind of bolstered by that idea. However, the overall conversation with the people is not going over very well. Is not going over very well in and of itself. So it's actually, because things aren't going over well on their own volition, you actually have Arthur steps in and tries to lend you a bit of an aid with dealing with the peoples there. He is, of course, a friend of your friends and has a vested interest in your success. However,
But also rolled terribly.
However, the problem with Arthur is that he, well, let's just say he is a little distracted by some of the bits of your the conversations that you're having, and you guys kind of end up falling into, because you hit off so well at first, you end up kind of like joking around a considerable amount, and it's kind of like spend more time joking with each other than kind of impressing the other people there, which is a bit of out of the ordinary for Ray, but it's really that they are so, like, you didn't get the advisors that you wanted, the counselors you wanted. You have the counselors that they could send in that short period of time. So these, like, they're so old. They're like dry toast that you've left under your cabinet for like 6 months and then came up moldy and crusty, and then you're like, I guess this. And so at least he's like a bit of flavor and fun, which is why your attention tends going that way. He aids you to the best of his ability, but unfortunately, maybe he just doesn't have a strong relationship with them himself, or maybe they just, similar idea, right? Either way, things go over pretty well with the people of Le Chèvre, and eventually they're looking to, several days later on, pack up and head out. So why don't we close up the session with discovery of the scrying device, things going fairly well with the representatives of Le Chèvre, things going very well with Rid. In fact, more traders coming to your marketplace from other towns at the behest of, what was her name again? Tally, and so on. And we'll see how things kind of play out next session with all of this, and maybe the return of the Arcane Congress. So,
I've always wanted to hang a gnome.
You don't need a really tall tree. You can do like an apple tree for that one. Like strawberry bush.
Look at this, 2 hangings for half the price. You should like cut the hanging rope in half.
All right. So, anyways, let us finish this up. We know that you're going to be doing something in 54 minutes. Neil, what is that?
Hey guys, I am gonna be on twitch.tv/Aurorum, where I am playing in a D&D 5e game where rolls screw you over less. Thank God I'm rolling better though now. Which is a D&D 5e Yavaskir, which is a homebrew world my friend Ollie has made, and I am playing a Sun Elf, Eravale Valanair, who is
a filthy cunt.
No. A lovable,
filthy, awful, terrible person that never takes a single point of damage,
and fully outplayed Scott's character to force him into being a side character.
God, that was terrible. That did not go over well.
Yep. So you can find me on there in just under an hour.
Just under an hour. Jake, we know you're here every Wednesday morning or your Wednesday night. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And Tesh, you can follow over at the Tesh Tube, as in like test tube, but Tesh Tube. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it today. I was hoping he would be able to. I woke up to a message from him saying, "Hey, I'm handling a situation. I will get back to you later on." Ended up not being able to join in, so sorry that Tesh wasn't able to be here and whomp the Arcane Congress with the might of his. Yeah, okay. But he should be joining us again next week when we come back live. Don't forget to tune in Friday evening, 10 p.m. EST, here for Aurorum Regicide to see what's really going on behind the scenes.
I enjoyed you saying test tube, because it's like watching your granddad say memes. Look, it's a meme.
I know the word memetics. Thank you very much.
Look at this GIF I found.
That's right. Shut up, bitch. Bye, everybody. Have a great night. Bye. Oh, wait, hold up. I'm going to keep streaming. So they're going to disappear. I'm going on a break. See y'all soon.